we got Sam Querrey, one of the most accomplished American tennis players in the last 2 decades.
What was your craziest tour story?
Probably beating Djokovic at Wimbledon.
Did you say you were going to be the best pickleball player in the world in 6 months?
I think it was top 10 in 6 months. Every pickleball player is a failed tennis player. I don't think some random guy ranked 30 is playing Alcaraz at the French Open and actually believes that he could beat him.
You have to be a little bit psycho to be a top tennis player in the world.
To be fair, no one knew what they were doing in pickleball like 3-4 years ago.
Carlos Alcaraz, how long before he's a top 5 singles or doubles player? Whoa! First podcast in LA, we got Sam Querrey, one of the most accomplished American tennis players in the last 2 decades. He's beaten guys like Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray, Stan Wawrinka.
You beat Novak.
I did, yeah.
Wow. Semis of Wimbledon, or no, quarters of Wimbledon, you beat him, getting you to the semis of Wimbledon.
No, beat him in the 3rd round, getting to the quarters. The next year made the semis, not beating Djokovic along the way.
So
We have Wes Burrows here as well to fact check anything that's saying.
Well, that's actually why we brought Wes, was to kind of be the fact checker for stories. And Wes is one of Sam's best friends since how old?
9-ish.
What are you guys doing at 9 years old? How did you guys meet?
Hanging
Tennis?
out. Yeah, he moved here to Thousand Oaks when he was 9, and we played tennis like twice a week and just became friends after that.
And Wes is like one of the greatest guys on tour.
Thanks.
His eyes
Probably
are...
the greatest.
He has the best eyes on tour for sure.
Yeah.
If he could give a look into the camera directly into it. Yeah, I mean, he's just...
Fruity enough.
Yeah, a great pickleball player, great guy, but also, one of Sam's best buds. So
Yeah, but that's why I'm here.
keeping him honest.
Sam's best
Keeping him
friend.
honest.
I also want to say that we had a dinner probably, I'd say a year ago now in Atlanta, Georgia, that kind of created a little bit of the foundation for us doing a podcast, because a lot of the conversations we had, like ultimatum scenarios we were discussing, like were so funny and intriguing to, I think, us, that we were like, this needs to be heard like outside of just the dinners we had. The car ride, the Southern Nut car ride.
God.
Southern Nut
It
car
was
ride.
one of the funniest dinners.
I've never laughed hard. I think that's the
Either.
hardest I've ever laughed in my life, was that car ride back from that dinner.
Do you want to explain the Southern Nut, or should we move into Sam's
let's go.
prolific tennis career?
Let's go into Sam. Let's go into Sam now.
So Sam, how did you get here?
Like pickleball? What do you...
Just your
moment?
Your
Take us back
your
before
career,
tennis.
your life. Yeah.
All right. I moved to Thousand Oaks, which is kind of like where we're filming this right now. When I was 9, that's where Wes and I met.
And where are you from originally?
I was born outside of San Francisco.
Okay.
And then spent some time in Vegas growing up, and then here.
Okay.
Played all sports growing up, and then at like 14, kind of just started focusing on tennis. Became really good at tennis, and then played pro tennis for 17 years. That ended in the end of 2022. And then I started playing pickleball with Wes. The first time we ever played together, I think it was our first time both playing pickleball for the first time.
Yeah.
Where was this?
2017 or
Brentwood
18?
Country Club, rainy day, Miles Rogers.
2017.
Maybe 2018.
I think 2017.
2017,
Wow.
yeah.
So like 3 years before the boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Or was it already booming?
no, it was not booming. I didn't know what it was at the time.
No, and you couldn't even find permanent courts like in LA. It was all temporary nets.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
And this was Miles Rogers, he's the CEO of some.
He's our buddy.
Okay.
And he's the
Not
we need to go into
important.
Miles' career.
Wheels up.
Yeah.
I knew it was something.
Yeah.
Private aviation
Stud.
sector.
Yeah. Okay. And who was the fourth?
We might not even had a fourth.
It was two. It was,
Again, we didn't even know
No,
the
I think,
rules.
I think it was like the Club Tennis
Club
Pro.
okay.
Taped
okay.
down lines, again, rainy day.
You taped down the lines?
No, the lines were taped down, but on a
okay.
tennis court.
Okay.
And that's where we were like introduced to pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
Knew the rules.
You had heard of it.
I don't remember if I'd heard of it or not.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. We didn't know any of the like nuances, or we knew the rules, and that was about it, and how to keep score. We didn't know like you could stack and switch sides. It was just like hit the serve over and have like these basic
In
rallies.
the kitchen, you can't.
Knew the kitchen
Yeah,
rule,
okay.
and like that was kind of it.
Yeah, I think tennis players who love pickleball right away are a weird breed. I think most tennis players find it a little unsatisfying at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your experience too?
Kind of. I think there's the learning curve of having no strings, right? Like you can't spin the ball as much, and especially like back when, a few years ago, you couldn't do anything with the ball. I think obviously technology's changed, but yeah, I think there's a little bit of addiction of like, I shouldn't be losing to anyone in a racket sport. I've played 10 to 20 years of tennis, and then there's also, what is this? This isn't what I'm used to. So yeah.
Okay, so you played pickleball. And
Played then, and then for the next 3 years, 4 years, Wes started playing a little more in like organized groups around LA with guys and handful of people at courts at their homes. There wasn't a lot of like communal courts at parks and things yet. I was still playing tennis. When I was home every few months, I would join in and play with them. And we just were kind of playing casually for 3-4 years. And then, I don't know when you played your first tournament, but maybe...
Yeah, definitely before you. But yeah, I started getting into it with like Jesse Irvin and Jeff Warnick and some of those types. And I was going to like the public parks an hour outside of LA just to like play and get competitive games. And then, yeah, I can't remember what my first tournament was. Maybe the Lakes tournament. Do you remember that one? It's out in like Palm Desert. That was like one of the first pro tournaments they had that would like offered money and stuff. So I did that. But yeah, Sam just always kind of played in our groups when he was back. And like, he was definitely the first pro tennis player that was kind of recreationally into pickleball, I think.
Yeah, I knew I was going to retire at the U.S. Open in 2022. That summer before, I went to watch Wes play an MLP event in Newport Beach.
That's right.
And I went down there, and at the time, this was 2022, every pickleball player that was there, every pickleball player is a failed tennis player in 2022. Now it's different. Now there's people that are, just...
You got your queries and your stocks.
Well, no, now I'm saying there's people that like focus on tennis
yeah.
player at 20, and that's what they do. But 3 years ago, that wasn't the case. They all were playing tennis. And I was just kind of walking around the courts and watching him play, and people were asking, "Oh, are you going to play pickleball? Like, what are your thoughts?" And it's like, I don't know. And then that's kind of how the thought popped into my head. Like, oh, maybe there's an opportunity to play pickleball after my tennis career, which was going to end in like a couple months at the U.S. Open.
Very interesting.
And so you want to dig more into the tennis. So like,
well,
Do you have like you just don't like tennis that much? Or what?
No, I do like tennis. I mean, I got kicked out of tennis when I was 10 years old for airmailing the balls over the fence, and I wish that didn't happen. But like, I think tennis is a beautiful sport. You know,
that was actually the origin of the kitchen.
Yeah, but like, I'm curious. I mean, you're very tall, right? How tall are you?
6'6".
And at what point growing up did you realize that you were going to be a great tennis player?
Probably when I was 14 or 15. At 14, I won the 14 under like national championships. And so if you do that, and Wes played junior tennis too, you kind of know at that point, like, all right, I'm probably on a path to go play college tennis at basically any school if you like kind of keep on that path. And then that was still kind of the goal at 15, still kind of the goal at 16. And then at like 16, 17, started to play some like international junior tournaments, like junior Wimbledon, junior French Open, and was doing well at those. And then I signed to go to USC. And then like the summer before school started, this was 2006, I did really well in some like lower level pro events. And so my ranking at the time in tennis would have been probably 150 in the world by the time college would have started. And
which is crazy. Like that's like people nowadays, like 150 in the world, it's like 100% you're going pro. Like there's
It's like
question.
coming into the sport as a pro, you're 150 in the world.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
crazy.
17, 18, and you're like one of the top 5, 7 juniors in the world, college is a step down.
Who else were you battling with at that time? Any names that I would know?
Yeah, when I played like those junior slams at the U.S. Open, I lost to Andy Murray.
Okay.
I played Marin Cilic.
Who hates pickleball, by the way. His mom loves pickleball.
Yeah, I played Marin Cilic, Fabio Fognini, Gael Monfils.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was a bunch of good.
Donald Young was also your year, right? Like he was.
No, he was younger than me.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Like I'm 1 year younger, but like Djokovic and Nadal would have played the year right before me.
And how hard are you working? Like this didn't happen by accident, right? Like Roscoe, you were a top junior tennis player. Are you grinding? Are you playing like how many hours a day are you? No?
At 16,
Sorry,
17.
I just had to. Yeah.
So
That's
he
why
definitely
I
wasn't
was
grinding.
here
Wasn't
to
grinding.
keep him honest, honestly.
So
No,
this
he
is
was-
just like
he'll be honest with you.
natural ability.
I wasn't. So at 16, 17, I was probably practicing. I was practicing every 4 or 5 days a week,
For how long?
2 hours, and then like doing.
I think so.
sometimes
You're just
going
like-
to the
he's like
gym.
you're a freak.
He's unique though. Like most of the other kids were like going to Saddlebrook and they were training
Yeah.
full time, and Sam's parents always just kind of like kept him grounded. But it was just always kind of like, yeah, play tennis, play other sports, do whatever. It wasn't until like 14, 15 when he really just started getting really tall and really freaking good.
Wasn't that kind of your persona on tour as well? As kind of like the guy that like you were always kind of irreverent. Is that right?
Yeah, behind the scenes he was a little more that way. Like now you're seeing it. He's doing like podcasts and media,
Yeah.
and he's a little more himself. He was always that way, kind of behind the scenes, goofy,
But not on the
affable.
court.
Yeah,
Not on the court. No.
Okay.
Yeah. But nowadays, like all the young junior players, even like the Americans, like Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul, Francis Tiafoe, like everyone homeschooled from the age of 10 and tennis all the time. And they're all really good. I mean, they're top 10 in the world now.
Is it safe to say you're not a prototypical athlete in the sense that like you?
No. Because even if I go to my year, the other good players, like John Isner, Steve Johnson, Jack Sock, who plays pickleball, they all went to like normal high school too and had a little bit of like my kind of upbringing.
Okay.
I think nowadays, like kids start specializing in sports at 10 years old and they're homeschooled and that's the path they take. But going back 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
So that was a standard.
That was a standard,
Oh,
yeah. You
okay.
had some kids at those tennis academies, but not all of them.
What's up, pickleballers? Are you looking for the perfect energy boost on and off the pickleball court? Look no further than Rainstorm Clean Energy. It's not only great for energy, but it's great for your skin and hair. Look at my skin and look at my hair. Do you want that? Yes, you do. Fuel your game today with Rainstorm Clean Energy, available on Amazon.
And so when did you really break through? Because obviously, you were already 150 in the world by the time you were 18, but when did you really say, hey, I'm kind of like an American tennis star? When was this becoming like the reality?
Probably when I was 19. I think I was a tennis
Quickly.
star, but I was
Yeah.
ranked then 65. And if you're top 100, you're in all the main draws of Wimbledon, U.S. Open, French Open, all that stuff. And you're just another guy that's in all the tournaments playing against Rafa, Roger, Novak, stuff like that. So, and even though I was ranked 65, you're just at the same events as all those guys. And probably when I was 20, that's when I kind of started to get really good and was ranked 20 in the world or so.
And did it become more of a full-time job, as in, not your, like you said, growing up 2 hours of training a day? It was more like, all right, like I'm going to like do fitness super seriously. I'm going to like eat crazy healthy. I'm going to like study these guys. Or was it the same kind of routines? It was just now you're playing on the bigger stages.
The day that I decided not to go to college, I remember the next day at practice working harder. Like, all right, I'm not going to go to college. Like, this is your career. Focus harder. And then when I was 18 or 19, I moved to Santa Monica. That's kind of like, if you were playing tennis in LA, like you had to move there because the USTA training center was in Carson.
Yeah.
So all the good players would go there to practice. And yeah, I would go to practice, work hard every day, go to the gym every day. I would eat decent. I didn't like focus on my diet that much. I don't think you have to when you're like 19, 20, maybe later on. I probably should focus on it now. But back then I didn't do that. But I did like just do the right thing every day.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have players that you looked up to? Were there role models, maybe even non-athletes, but just people who you looked up to in terms of work ethic and style and who you wanted to emulate?
Andy Roddick was the guy that, not so much his style, but when I was 16 or 17, he invited me to, he lived in Austin at the time. And he lived in Austin before everyone lived in Austin, like early 2000s. And so I would go there and practice with him for like weeks at a time when I was 16, 17. And not that he would like mentor me in any way.
How old was he?
23
Okay.
or so. But you would just see how hard he worked every day. Like he would, on the practice court, like doing fitness, things like that. And just watching him do that was, it's kind of stuck with me. And that was very important for me, I feel like.
Now you're battling Roddick on the podcast.
On the podcast world, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a tennis podcast, Served. I got one, Nothing Major, with John Isner, Jack Sock, and Steve Johnson. His is good. Like his
crushes a bit, but I also think your podcast is probably, in my opinion, it's the best sports podcast there is.
Wow.
Done. So, I
agree.
This is just typical Roscoe.
No,
That's a crazy statement. I'm not saying it's not.
Pardon my take.
We have a sports podcast. Just like the
MLP.
clips you guys do, the kind of relationship you have with John and Jack and Stevie, it's like it all fits together. It's special.
It's still the craziest take.
I'll say, if you like tennis, you would like it.
Dude, I know people who don't even focus on tennis that hard, and they're like, this is.
Yeah,
hilarious.
look, you can, if you don't even know tennis, you can watch it and enjoy it because we're not like a tennis specific like podcast.
Although you did steal our clip the other day, which
Zero.
I was
That's
gonna,
crazy,
I was
right?
gonna bring that
Right.
up.
Literally,
Yeah.
But I have a question. So for those who don't know, we tried to do a podcast with Sam and Leia Jansen.
Yeah.
And Leia went MIA for like a month after our first episode.
That was like 2 years ago, probably.
It was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that any inspiration? That moment where?
No, if anything, that made me never want to even
all
touch
right.
a podcast.
Darn. All right, I thought.
Like, she'd be like outside on a dark balcony on an iPhone with no Wi-Fi, trying to like.
Wait, you guys filmed
Yeah,
episodes?
Yeah, I want to.
Right.
And also
unearth those. I have them.
we asked Leia about this. Her thing was completely opposite. She like didn't act like she was the one who kind of didn't respond for a while. She just, what did she say? She didn't know what was happening.
There was a moment where I think I did speak to Leia after I think the first episode, and we were like, man, Sam really knows nothing about pickleball.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like we were like, who's the best player? And you were like naming people who just weren't the best player. And Leia was like, what are you talking about? Like, I want to get that episode out there into the world. But like, I think you found your path.
Nothing major.
I think the tennis podcast seems to be the better.
Yeah,
the better
we
lane.
started that pickleball podcast when I've been playing for like 5 days.
Yeah, and going like I think your entry into pickleball. In Roscoe and I were talking about this on the way here. Did you say you were going to be the best? And I think you were kind of like it was a joke maybe, or maybe it wasn't. You're going to be the best pickleball player in the world in 6 months.
I don't know if it was exactly that. It might have been top 10.
Yeah, top 10.
Top
You never
10
said
in
best.
6
It
months.
wasn't number one, and
It wasn't number one. It wasn't number one.
it's crazy how like
You got drafted first overall at MLP.
I said it was top 5.
I
It
thought
might have been top
it
5.
was
We
number
didn't
one.
go back and look at the clip. It was. I don't think it was number one.
We'll pull that
Top
up.
5. I think it was top 10 in 6 months. I filmed that with Tyson McGuffin at his house in Idaho in September 2022.
And so when you played Alex Newman for your first match, and he's the visor guy.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had like the most storied pickleball career, right? Like he's a good player, but like
He's sneaky good.
sneaky good. He is sneaky good. He's never.
If we recorded this in 2022, you'd have said Alex Newman was like one of the top 17 best guys.
See, that's one of those comments where it's just not
In
accurate. at all.
2022, you don't think he was one of the
Like
17
Roscoe's
best singles
comment?
players?
No.
Well, be honest.
You see
Were
the
you
20
nervous playing him at the PPA Masters after making those claims, or no?
Not because I was making the claims, but because I've been playing pickleball for years with Wes. Probably played singles like 4 times.
Never ever played
And
singles.
so I just walked on the court that day. I was like, I'll just kind of figure this out as we get going here.
You just did a video about it. Or maybe I just saw it, but you have a video about your first match in pickleball.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, one of my favorite things about your content and just you in general is how self-deprecating you are. And, like, you're not afraid to, like, show the warts. And I thought it was great. So I just kind of rewatched that clip.
It's 4-3. I'm kind of hanging in there. This is the point that crushed me. That shot right there. Cannot miss that shot. I was nervous. Just because tennis, at least, you practice all day, every day. And you're like, all right, I know my level, give or take.
I feel like you get nervous on the pickleball court a lot.
Not anymore. Then I
Really?
did.
He doesn't now.
Then I did.
See, I feel like Sam,
sure.
that's like his superpower. And I was gonna say, add to the tennis thing, why those top tennis players can be so good and what separates them. And I think it's all mental. Like, I feel like you don't feel fear or nervousness as much as
It's like a sociopath.
other
almost.
people do. You have to be a little bit. Agree with me here. You have to be a little bit psycho to be a top tennis player in the world. Fritz, Tommy Paul,
I don't think so.
Brooksby, Opelka.
I don't think so.
You have to have a little bit of craziness.
Didn't he say he was gonna leave his dog out so like got taken by a coyote or something like
Sam's
that?
a total psychopath. Yeah,
He's a sociopath.
yeah.
Not even a little bit.
I think
Really?
that's why you were a top tennis player.
No.
I think he's a
There's
freak.
a lot
I
of
think
top
he-
tennis players that are pretty normal.
I think he's a freak.
Like most of
I think
them.
he's a freak athlete. That's what I mean. But now you say that. I heard you say that was kind of the norm, that athletes were training as much as they are now. But I don't know. I mean, you're like super tall and like you had a crazy serve, and I don't know. I don't know a lot about it. But to me, you're like a freak. Freak.
So-
sociopath.
I don't know if you remember this, but I used to come out to Carson when I was like 13, 14, and we practiced with Vahe and Nankin and all these people, and you were like one of the touring pros. So a lot of times they would have like a pro like Sam play with like 2 14-year-old kids. So like, let's say me and someone else, and we'd do like 2-on-1 drills. So we'd basically like, he'd be on one side and there'd be 2 younger kids on the other, like kind of just like giving him, like certain shots he wants to work on, etc. And there was this one day where it was me, Sam, and Vahe, and we were the only people at Carson. Vahe was your coach at the time, or one of your coaches. And Sam comes to practice. I think you were in like a little bit of a bad mood. Something was going on that day. And we start out by playing a baseline game. And I'm 14 at the time. And I win the baseline game.
Do you remember this?
Like 11-7.
No, it's already a lie.
sounds like
I'm not going to lose to a
swear-
14-year-old in the
I
baseline
swear,
game, so I don't know.
I swear this isn't a lie. Sam takes his racket and breaks it on the side. It was when you walk into Carson, first court on the left, on the side of the brick.
How many swings? Like just one?
Just one,
Oh, okay.
one big
Sam
big
saying
throw.
like this just never
Well, no, it
happened.
might have. I broke a handful of rackets.
But you never lost to Roscoe though.
No, this is like
it's a
this is like
baseline game.
he had already been like drilling, like he was working on something, like, and I basically came in and like we played like a baseline game. You were already like you were working on something that wasn't going well.
Okay.
You break your racket and you said I'm done. You said I'm done with practice. And I remember the feeling I had was like, I just made Sam Querrey break his racket.
Broke him.
I was like, I just broke Sam Querrey. And it was great. It was like this
Do you remember Roscoe?
No.
This beautiful thing.
I don't. But like, what can happen is
Do we have a photo of y'all?
Yeah, I saw that photo.
We'll pull that.
We have a photo. But
that's kind of like, that can happen. You can be working on things in practice. You bring a 14-year-old, like 15-year-old in. It's like, all right, we're gonna hit approach shots, come to the net, play out. Like, you might have missed 3 in a row.
No serves. There were no serves.
Nuts. He probably put like a blindfold on you beforehand or something like that.
Vahe was
doing weird
intense,
stuff.
but I will say I think Vahe, like in my tennis career, Vahe and Nankin, those two guys were like
Psychopaths.
two of the best. I think two of the best coaches.
kidding.
Yeah.
But if you're going back to your question, like if you practice all the time, you're like confident with what you do. Pickleball, like I was nervous early. Even like we played doubles the next day, I was still nervous. I never played a doubles match. Wes had played not that many. You might have been nervous too.
I think pickle inherently is just more nerve-wracking than tennis. Like smaller muscles, you're hitting dink shots and stuff. It's like golf.
You feel stupid if you miss a dink.
Yeah, in tennis you can just hit through that.
Yeah.
Pickleball you can't just like hit through every shot.
Yeah.
You have to like finesse and speed up and all that stuff. It's
I-
a lot going on.
Before we get into I want to touch a little bit more on the
That's what I was
tennis.
gonna say, yeah.
What was your craziest tour story or moment?
Probably beating Nadal at this tournament in Acapulco or beating Djokovic at Wimbledon.
I mean,
Like,
that's
my
just
best
insane.
moment.
You beat like two of the best players ever.
No, not
I
two of the
had
best.
highs.
Two of the greatest athletes of all time.
I had highs and lows. Like I had a game where like I was locked in. I had a lot of top 10 wins, but then I also had a lot of losses to guys that I probably should have never lost to.
Like me.
100. Like yes, like a 14-year-old Roger.
I just lost to an 11-year-old in San Clemente. Jack
You're not a
Pickleball.
professional athlete.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a very good athlete, but I know the feeling of the lows.
Very
a
similar.
lot of them.
Yes.
So take me through the Novak story.
Novak, that was 2016 Wimbledon. I'd always done well at Wimbledon. Like I liked playing there. I was a good grass court player. Djokovic had won the U.S. Open, Australian Open, French Open. That was going to be to hold like all 4 of them. And I was playing him in the third round. I won the first set 7-6. Won the second set 6-1, and then the match was called for darkness. This is prior to Wimbledon. Wimbledon has roofs on the court now, so you could play till 11 p.m. Didn't have a roof on the court then, so match was called for darkness. Went back to the place I was staying, up 2-0. And in my head, kind of thought like, all right, this is great, but he'll probably get it together the next day and beat me.
yeah, he was in a little bit of a funk.
He was in he ended the second set missing some easy volleys, and I was like, he'll probably get it together the next day. So anyway, we come back out the next day, play maybe 4 or 5 games, and it's a rain delay. Went inside, played a few more games, rain delay, and then he ended up winning the third set 6-4 pretty routinely.
Yeah, I thought you were done.
Yeah, me too.
You thought in your head like I actually like.
I thought he's probably going to beat me. I think a lot of times athletes are lying if you walk out and say like, yeah, I believe I can beat Roger Novak. And
Yeah, it's just
like maybe you don't believe you can beat them, or maybe you believe that you can beat them, but like you don't find the belief until the match gets going.
yeah.
I don't think anyone right now is like some random guy ranked 30s playing Alcaraz at the French Open and actually believes that he could beat him. You can find the belief if you're like, all right, I just won the first set. Like now I think it. But anyway, then we go into the fourth set and Novak goes up a break. He serves for the fourth set at 5-4, 6-5, and I break it to get into like a tiebreaker in the fourth set. Gosh. And then at that point I knew like, okay, all the pressure is on him. It's one tiebreaker. I have like a big serve, a big game. He's Djokovic. I have nothing to lose. And ended up winning that tiebreaker 7-4, 7-5.
What was the feeling when you won?
It's good. I jumped like this high off the ground.
Massive win for Sam Querrey. Massive shock for Wimbledon 2016.
Jumped like that was the highest I've ever jumped. But it was pretty cool. You could feel like the grounds around Wimbledon, like even people on other courts were like following along.
It felt like something massive just happened. Like the whole kind of city knew.
Like the whole world knew.
I like that.
Was the crowd kind of bummed?
No.
They wanted you to win.
I think so. I don't really know. I think Djokovic at the time was like kind of 50% of people liked him, 50% of people didn't like him.
Yeah, he was a little...
Fed Nadal were like universally liked by everyone. I think people wanted to see the upset over Djokovic at the time.
In what year?
2016.
Okay. I was trying to think it was like social media with people following along and
Yeah.
Social media was around. It wasn't like it is
but
today.
it wasn't like speed of, in the moment everyone knows what's happening.
I don't know.
Well, I think the Alcaraz Sinner match, I didn't watch the full match, but on Twitter I saw that people were saying this could be the greatest tennis match of all time. And when they say the ratings, I actually talked to Roscoe's dad about this last night. When they say the ratings were so good, I wonder if it was like from that last set when everyone started tuning in, Because it couldn't have been the full match.
So I saw the ratings. I think it was on average 1.8 million people in the U.S. only watched the match. It spiked to 2.6 million in the fifth set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually when you get the rating for that. You can
stats.
get the average and you get the spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think a lot of people have attended. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen. To sit there and watch that for 5.5 hours, that's a long
crazy.
time. You got to love the sport.
Yeah. Did you watch the full thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there. I was broadcasting, so I had my job.
You didn't
to
do a
watch
lot of
it.
research for this one, did you?
I did some.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did. I remember my wife coming in and be like, "This match is still fucking on." I was like, "Yeah, sorry."
What's up, pickleballers? I've got the Franklin C45 pickleball paddle here. This thing's played by J.W. Johnson, Hayden Patricklin, Paris Todd. It's one of the most versatile pickleball paddles in the market. Tons of power, tons of pop, tons of spin. You gotta get this paddle. Check it out, franklinsports.com today.
So you've beaten Djokovic, you've beaten Nadal, you've beaten Andy Murray, you beat a lot of these top players. You got to 11 in the world. You were one of the most successful American players in the last 2 decades. You obviously had a great career. Does part of you think, gosh, maybe I could have done better, or are you satisfied with having all those amazing accolades, but it's just that's the way it went?
Both. Satisfied, happy with it. But yeah, I think everyone can say like, oh yeah, probably could have worked a little harder. I probably could have spent a little more time in the gym, like stretched a little more, like eaten a little better, like done things a little better.
Yeah.
But I don't have any regrets or anything. I'm like extremely happy with how things went. At 16, I never would have thought I would have had that kind of career.
I have a question. How often do you think about your accolades? Is it like daily? Are you like, wow, I was like one of the best tennis players ever? Like, is it ever, does that happen?
No.
Okay.
Not that often.
Okay.
I would say. I don't know.
Do you think that these guys like Carlos Alcaraz, like Jannik Sinner, do you think it's their work ethic that has brought them to number one, or do you think there's guys working just as hard? It is the talent that actually gives them the edge in those little situations. Like if you were to work as hard as Novak and Rafa, do you think you would have been as good as them, or is there just that kind of uncontrollable that is just skill and talent at that point?
Again, it's both. I think Alcaraz and Sinner work really, really, really hard as anyone in the world. And then at the same time, I'm trying to think of who's, Sebastian Baez is ranked 19 in the world right now. He's probably working, by the way. He's probably working equally as hard, but it does get to a point where like Sinner just with like the strength and the flexibility and the whole package, like when he works really hard, when they work equally as hard, Sinner is just better. So it is a little bit of both. Sometimes I feel like there's like that saying of just like, oh, if that guy, he's just talented. Like, no, most of those guys that are talented, Nadal, Djokovic, Sinner, Alcaraz, they work really, really, really hard and sacrifice a lot to get there.
Yeah.
I lean more on like they work really hard than it's more so they work really hard than they have natural talent.
You also had a group of people who would travel with you called the Samurai. Sometimes they'd travel with you. They'd show up at like Indian Wells and some other tournaments. And I think someone in this room might have been one of the leaders of that group with his shirt off and a big old S on his
can you
chest.
tell us about the Samurai?
We didn't travel to every tournament. We went to like the LA Open, and we went to usually Indian Wells, and that was pretty much it.
Oh, you didn't go abroad?
Never.
No. You guys did come to Indianapolis
We had
one time.
Yes, that
And
was
the
I was
US
gonna tell
Open?
that story. We had a cool one in Indianapolis, but we also had some people like pretend to be samurai at some tournaments, which was cool.
Really? Some
Yeah.
fakers?
I don't know if I
scammers.
was like 18 or 19. Sam was starting to get good, and I just was like, oh, it'd be cool if we created like a fan club. And so me and my buddies at the very first tournament came out and we were Sam's Club at first. And then like day two, we like scrapped that idea and we're like, no, we'll be like the Samurai. And we like,
Sam's
cooler,
Club's
right?
pretty good.
Sam's Club was pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna.
But like
Samurais
kind of
are
niche,
better.
and I think it's kind of a regional grocery chain, Sam's Club.
Yeah.
So don't bring that up to the whole.
Did you get? Because I remember seeing you guys at Indian Wells. I was like, must have been like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Seeing the Samurai. That's probably honestly, you were probably there at that time.
100%? I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, did you like how'd that idea come out? Like, were you just like, that's our boy, we're gonna go
We
out
just
there?
needed
and, like,
something with Sam's name in it, so we went with the Samurai. And
But I'm saying,
at
like,
some
painting
Oh my
the-
god, we went to Chinatown and bought like random like stuff to wear at the matches, which was
You had a gong.
probably would have got us canceled. Like,
How many people were in this?
I mean,
officially?
there were times like at the LA tournament where there were 20 of us. Deep.
Wow.
Like, so many
would
kids
just
from
stack,
Thousand Oaks High
we would
School
just
would
stack
come.
them up behind us, and like, we
Would you think it was funny? Like,
Yeah, I loved it.
okay. So it was good. Like,
The fans loved them too.
Yeah.
The
Like,
fans,
I think it was
people
good
would
to-
come to your
the
matches
crowd.
and focus on them
Yeah,
more than they
exactly.
would focus on you. Like I was like, Oh, they're there. Like I was like a kid, like searching for you guys.
The pinnacle was the Indianapolis tournament. Like reached out to Sam or Sam's agent was like, "Hey, can we get the Samurai to come to this?" And we're like 20 years old, had no jobs. We're like, "Hell yeah!" They flew us out. We had this huge hotel room, but there were like 5 of us crammed in this massive hotel room.
Was there ever any stories on y'all? Like any media done?
What
on
do you mean by
Sam?
stories?
Like any like media or was there interviews with the Samurai?
Social media was not a thing, so it was some people would interview us and stuff. But this Indianapolis tournament, they even they printed out headbands for us to give out to people. They gave us a t-shirt launcher. We were on the court like firing stuff into the crowd.
So we went to like a little bit of like a side hustle too. Like
we made no money. In fact, we lost quite a bit of money on the entire venture. Sam gave us tickets.
Some of my opponents I feel like didn't like it either.
Oh,
yeah,
sure, but that's
zero chance.
We had wars with some of the other fan clubs.
Tommy Haas's girlfriend.
The Hebrew Hammer. Who's the Hebrew? Oh yeah.
Wait, you guys.
It's a bad time to talk about that.
Were you heckling?
No, we were usually pretty tasteful, but I was like one of the only tennis. I think I was the only tennis player in the whole group. So a lot of them were like former basketball players, and like they didn't know tennis at all. So they'd come to one tournament a year, and they would just scream like after a double fault or like after a first serve miss. And so I would try to like keep them under. But like
college tennis.
Yeah, we had like a few beers. Like I couldn't control them. It was fun. But yeah, we got into it with Tommy Haas's wife one time. She was screaming back.
Who's like a famous actress?
Yeah,
Sarah Foster.
Sarah Foster.
Wow.
Yeah.
David Foster's daughter.
We never got kicked out. I think.
What was going back and forth? What were you guys screaming at each other?
I think someone accidentally cheered after a missed first serve or a double fault, and she kind of just like snapped back at us. It wasn't. Yeah, I don't know what she was saying.
But the Samurai, you guys were only there for 2 years, 3 years, and eventually everyone was like, "All right, I need a job now. I can't just take a week off work to like paint my chest and go to like Indianapolis."
And Sam, like as much as he liked having us there, I think it was like once he kind of got like big and good.
Yeah, you can't do it at Wimbledon.
It didn't feel like it was the right vibe to keep doing it.
I played Nadal one year at the U.S. Open. Like on 4th round in center court. Yeah. I don't know if you were there for that one.
I was there for that one.
It was you, Shane Poppin, Chap, and there was like 4 of you, like in the player box, front row, just shirts off.
So you're like in the mix.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Like my coach, and then like
can we bring back the Samurai for pickleball when Sam's playing?
Yeah.
Please, I'll do it.
No, like when's your next single?
Those guys are all ready. They'll come.
Cincinnati, maybe.
I'm not going to Cincinnati.
Why do you need to be there?
Because I want to be part of the Samurai.
Yeah. Oh, you want to be one? All right.
Yeah.
I honestly think Jared has the perfect like physique.
I would get kicked out.
Maybe Vegas.
I think he'd be a good M.
I'd get kicked
Vegas
out.
would be great. Yeah. What letter would he?
We had a guy who was about Jared's build, who was the M.
I don't know what that means, but I'll take it. I'm in.
I'll let you.
Okay. So we need 7. Is that right, Samurai?
We would change it depending on how many we had that day.
But how? There's 7 letters.
Like one time we were the Samurai, and we actually rearranged to spell it amateurish when the guy like hit a ball out of the thing.
So you guys would move.
We only did that like once or twice, but we did it one time.
That actually works.
Yeah, we planned it out ahead of time. We're like, if this guy does something douchey, we're gonna rearrange.
What's that called? Is that an
amateurish.
anagram?
Yeah, we had one smart guy in our crew. We had a few, but one that like figured that out and was like told us how we were gonna organize. It was great.
Dan.
It was Dan.
All right. So now moving back into pickleball a little bit. So you retired from the U.S. Open. Obviously, Wes kind of was already playing, high level pickleball and got you into it. At what point did this whole I'm going to go play pro pickleball kind of happen, and I'm going to sign to the PPA, sign to MLP, really like make this my next few years?
And has it met your expectations, or has it been less in terms of your success in pickleball?
Like when I went to watch Wes play the tournament MLP, then I kind of went with my agent like, hey, I think there's like a pickleball is like getting popular. Let's see if I can get a paddle deal and go play a couple paddles or go play a few tournaments. And then that kind of started the talks with Franklin at the time. And then my agent John came back to me. He's like, hey, good news. Like, got you a paddle deal. Like, I know you've never played, but like there's so much mystery and like, can a pro tennis player come over and dominate pickleball? Like that was a big conversation, I feel like 3 years ago.
It's smart doing it before you play too. It's like raising around the funding pre-revenue.
He actually already played quite a bit, but it was kind of under wraps.
Yeah, I was on the DL.
So it was perfect because he looked really good right away because he'd been playing for.
And then kind of went on Tyson's podcast, like I'll be top 10 and like just hyped everyone up.
Was that on purpose that you said
that? Was a little bit on purpose, yeah. Part of me thought I was maybe going to be top 10. I didn't even know, honestly. I think
I bet Brooks Wiley that either you or there was another tennis guy that like
Noah Rubin.
That one of y'all would be number 1 in the world, and I was like, I don't think so. And Brooks was like 100% they will be.
Noah gave up quick.
It's tough because like I was 35 years old when I came over. Like it's tough to like start pickleball seriously at 35.
You also have a full-time family, Abby. Ford, Owen.
Yeah. Look at you guys.
Full-time dad. I know Sam well, man.
But yeah, that's how it started. And then later that year, like MLP was doing the big draft, and it kind of was like, they had a Premier League and a Challenger League. And Al Tylis, who owned at the time, it was the DC Pickleball Club. And if you guys remember, like people were buying these pickleball teams left and right, like knowing nothing about pickleball.
Yeah.
And so I was chatting with Al in Vegas, and he's like, "Hey man, like I don't know anything about this, but I think I'm gonna pick you up number 1 overall pick. We have it." I was like, "Sweet." And then I remember texting some people like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna get drafted number 1," and they're just like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "Well, just wait for the draft on Monday."
What did you say, Wes?
I don't remember.
It was number 1 in the
to be
Challenger
honest.
Tour, to be clear.
All I remember from that time was the memes that came out with Sam as Big Bird at like the
It's so
the
good.
conference.
We gotta throw that up.
for like a year.
Oh, they were so good though.
Did you care? Like,
I thought it was so funny.
oh, so
No,
there
he
was
loved
no.
it.
Okay.
No, I loved it.
No.
But yeah, then anyway, like I played. That was the beginning of 2023. I signed MLP to play on the 6 events or 3 events or whatever it was, and then I was gonna play. And then I kind of played the PPA events sprinkled in when it worked, and then it was later in 2023. As you guys know, the MLP PPA, like all the
Yeah.
that could be a full separate episode. It was later that year where everyone was picking a side. You go sign with the PPA or the MLP, and I signed with the PPA to play the 3 years, like so many people did, and everyone did MLP, and now they're merged. But that's kind of how it kind of started going. I was just kind of learning with everyone, just like he was doing, just like he was doing. Like it was something new would happen every week, and you're just like, all right, yeah, I'll go play in that league. All right, I'll try MLP. All right, I'll do this.
Can you tell the MLP banner story from Atlanta?
You can tell.
That's
Kind of
great.
like,
You know how they have those like banner flags with like the people's faces and stuff as you go in?
drive
This
in.
is great.
Yeah, Sam had figured out like who the manufacturer was and like got one rush delivered that said like MVP of like season 1 MLP Sam Querrey, and he like in the middle of the night like waiting, we put it up so that like as you
remember
drove
this.
in, it just looked like it was one of the regular
Didn't we do a
ones.
collab on it?
Wait, so
There was
you
guys
guys
like Annalie Waters, Ben
Yeah, but there was
Johns,
a
Sam
content
Querrey,
piece.
season 1 MLP, then Tyson
You did
McGuffin.
it. Someone did a content where we definitely.
I didn't want to bring up.
You
like,
did the content, but I remember this is at Atlanta.
He went and helped me, and we made it.
Yeah, and then did it get posted?
Yeah.
You probably took it down
You probably
after
took
like
it down.
the
I know,
numbers.
I know.
I
Instagram's
get 8
down.
million likes in 12 seconds, and you're like, the algorithm's down.
I feel like Sam thinks I'm just a complete psycho.
He does.
I know.
Yeah, you want to
that's
see like
why-
me being a psycho? Like you're
I'm a total sociopath. I mean,
Yeah.
I can admit it. See, that's the difference. I'm self-aware.
He's really not
Sociopath.
He's not. He is a little bit. He doesn't know it yet, but that's why he's such a tennis player. Anyway, so Atlanta. I just want to recap this for everyone. But so I'm driving in the next day, and like you said, there's Ben, there's Annalie, there's all these
Anna Bright.
top players. Yeah, and at the very front of the Atlanta Lifetime site, there's a big thing that says Sam Querrey's season 1 MVP.
Same size, same shape.
And everyone's taking pictures and texting around like, wait, what is this? Like, how is this here? Because he went from the number 1 pick in Challenger to not drafted. And it was like, it turns out these 2 knuckleheads right here in the middle of the night went and put this thing in. He had one ordered and made, like you said, same
Did Pardo
manufacturer.
say anything?
They love that
They
stuff.
loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
but that's why pickleball is great. I think.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
like do some shenanigans and it's cool. I bet you do that
Totally.
in tennis. You get like arrested.
I think they helped him a little bit. Like Danny gave you the
Yeah,
number
and
of
someone
like,
else.
where she
I
got the
wasn't
banner
gonna name
from.
names, but someone from MLP helped me.
Well, Danny's no longer.
There you go.
All right, yeah.
That might be why.
I hope they brought that up at the exit interview.
Yeah.
All right. Tennis or pickleball?
I think we know.
Tennis.
Yeah,
I mean,
Why?
Well, what's the question?
What do you like
That's not a
better?
question.
What do you like better? Tennis or pickleball? What do you like better?
What word do you like
Which
better?
one has more letters?
Yeah.
What do I
which
like
one-
better?
which
I
one
like
sounds better.
I like tennis better. That doesn't mean I don't like pickleball.
Yeah, but
I like
hold
pickleball
on.
too.
Had you went into pickleball and you accomplished this statement of I'm going to be top 10, let's just say that happened. Could it be pickleball?
No.
Had
can't- you
nothing
can't- I
major,
love
had
pickleball.
nothing major blown
No.
up.
You can't compare pickleball and tennis yet. Like, there's not like pickleball is awesome, but like playing center court at Wimbledon
Of course.
doesn't compare to winning 10 goals at
What about
different PPs.
What's more fun?
Equal. Like
I
I have
think
equal
that's
amount of fun.
that's- that-
honestly,
that-
like
chalk one
I
up for
love going to play
pickleball.
pickleball with Wes and 2 buddies like in the afternoon.
Me.
No, I'm not playing with you.
I will say, like, part of the reason that I fell in love with pickleball was getting to have these games with Sam West and Mariano, like, on a random Thursday. Like, it was just so fun.
Yep.
And this was before, like, we were taking it, like, seriously. But it It is good. Like when you get a nice foursome of pickleball, it's like I personally think it's more fun than tennis.
Yeah, my favorite pickleball is like going back 5-6 years. We playing with like you and
Yeah.
So he didn't include
a handful of guys.
his favorite foursome.
No, I did.
You two.
He wasn't around then.
The two of us.
You
did.
The two of us, you and Emily Ackerman.
Dude,
Cedarquist.
Best
Like,
games,
that was a great
best games
that was
ever.
So fun.
None of us knew what we were doing except for Wes.
Yeah.
Wes would, if anyone played with Wes, they'd win.
To be fair, no one knew what they were doing in pickleball like 3-4 years ago. It was,
Will there ever be a pickleball player on Nothing Major?
yeah, like a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I threw out the idea of like I wanted to have Anna Lee Waters on, and my co-host went nope.
Really?
I think she listens to your podcast.
We have tennis listeners. They wouldn't find it interesting.
So
when we've brought guests on that aren't tennis players, people don't like it that much.
Could you go someone like
This is gonna come back around though. I'm gonna still try to like get her on.
who's the highest level tennis player that's not you or Jack Sock? I mean, you've had Jeannie, but she's a tennis player. But like, is there anyone that was like really great at tennis that is now in pickleball? Not really, right? Because
Jeannie, I think is the one.
No, but not Jeannie, Jack, or Sam.
No.
Okay, so then
you still have yet to have a solely pickleball player.
Correct. I bet we will in the next year.
What about a pickleball media guy? So who is your least favorite pickleball player?
My least favorite pickleball player. Gosh, tough question. I wish I would have had that one earlier so I could think about it. I get along with pretty much everyone.
No, but this is your least.
I know. I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to. I'm not trying to.
Loves you
Hang on,
the wrong
yeah,
way.
I'm not trying to escape the question. I'm trying to think of someone that I don't.
You can think about it as we ask.
Like early on, I didn't like James Ignatowicz that much. I really like James Ignatowicz now. Matt Wright early on kind of irked me. I really like Matt Wright.
I love Matt Wright.
So
Matt Wright, they're like two of my favorite people.
Matt Wright is
Matt Wright's
like
the best.
If everyone got to know Matt Wright, they'd love him.
Anna Bright and I used to have some little fake argument feud. She's
How
one
about
of my favorite people now.
Johnny Goldberg?
Johnny Goldberg, can't stand him.
Okay.
You're right. He's not even a player though. He's not even in the draws, is he?
he used to be,
He used to be.
All right.
but I think he's probably fine with that. Like that's kind of his thing. Yeah,
I could care less.
Favorite?
Favorite?
Can't be in this room.
Hayden Patrick Quinn. Big fan. Weirdly, Anna Bright is one of my favorites now. Zane Ford.
Really?
A big Zane Ford guy.
Like his style or
Style,
him?
both.
Okay.
Well, you like to pick kind of those, you loved Alshin. And you probably still love Alshin, but
Yeah.
I know
What's
you
his
said
name?
that. Christian Alshin.
Alshin?
Christian
I think
Alshin.
it's all Sean. bro.
Alshin, but
So weird.
Did I butcher his name?
yeah.
Did you do it
Should
on
we cut
purpose
this
though?
out? No, I
no,
didn't.
no.
I've known Christian for years.
Brett.
Maybe I am.
Anna Lee is one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
She's kind of in a way like Nadal. Anna Lee, I've never seen her not try 100% on every single point she's ever
such a
played in her
beast,
life.
yeah.
It's insane. We
were talking about that. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Leia about this yesterday, and with Dane driving to San Clemente, Anna Lee, it's Ben. I feel is not as hungry. I mean, I think everyone would agree that he's lost some of that fire. Anna Lee, before Championship Sunday, Dane and I were kind of making a joke that she's probably in front of the mirror, oh, this is it. This is my moment.
Yeah.
Every tournament, that is insane. But that's why she is who she is. I think.
Yeah.
So that leads me to my next question. Both you guys, who's your most respected pickleball player?
Person I respect the most.
Yeah, who do you respect the most?
It's kind of lame to say Ben, but
No, that was going to be probably
just
mine too.
The game just keeps changing, and he still manages to stay one step ahead of everybody.
Couldn't agree more.
And he didn't have the high tennis background that a lot of the competitors do. He's older than a lot of them. Even when the technology changes, I make excuses. He does not. He just figures out how to win. So
Yeah.
what?
Some excuse. I mean, the lighting and some of the stuff. I mean, I love
Oh,
that. I
well,
love that.
sorry. He makes excuses sometimes,
yeah.
but I just
Every
mean
now and again. Yeah.
but his game doesn't make excuses. Yeah.
For me, Anna Lee on the women's side. On the men's side, I have two. Tyson McGuffin. But it's the whole package. I just appreciate the effort, and he's got the film crew, and he's got the camp.
The branding's
just the
crazy.
branding, all that, the effort and the the whole package that he brings every week. I really admire that.
I also want to add something about Tyson. He's so nice to new players on tour. When I first got on tour, he was the first guy who was hey, you want to warm up tomorrow? Hey, you want to practice?
Yeah.
Had me out to Coeur d'Alene at his house. I think people don't see that side of Tyson, or it's just something that isn't talked about. Has always been such an amazing guy to me, especially. So I think that's where I earned so much.
Who is your other one?
My other one is Federico Staksgård.
Fetty.
And part of this is because
Federico, what?
Statsgard?
Skagsgard?
Yeah, he can't say it.
Skarsgård.
It's
we tried
Statsrud.
Skagsrud,
Skarsgård?
whatever.
Yeah,
I
he can't say
haven't
it.
commentated pickle on a little bit.
Skarsgård?
Federico Skarsgård. And part of that is because I think he trains in Florida, this place called Ibis. Jay Berger, one of in the tennis world, used to be top 10. He's like the managing tennis director there. And just talking to Jay, he'll sometimes say he sees Federico out there 6 a.m. Drilling from 6 to 8, and then goes to the gym for 90 minutes, and then he goes back to drill and then practices. Just word of mouth has got back to me that Federico is absolutely grinding on the pickleball court in the gym, and I really like hearing that. That's pretty cool, and that's probably why over the last 18 months he's dominated singles.
I mean, yeah, Hunter dominated him yesterday, but
You didn't want to hear my second one?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I thought you only had one.
Kind of a weird one. Well, yeah.
I know it's me, but and someone not in the room.
No, it's weird. It's Callie Smith, actually.
I love Callie Smith.
Right? Why do you love her?
I just think she's so sweet, and I think that she's just a beast, and she's she's grown with the sport as well.
100%. For all those reasons. Well, two, I honestly said 3 words to her ever, but every single tournament she's playing with random fans, and they everywhere she goes, she'll just find some random person and just make them fall in love with pickleball.
I also like that Callie, so she wouldn't play on Sundays. I don't know if y'all do.
I do remember that.
So she would not play on
So
Sundays.
what'd she do if she made the final?
She would not play. She would
pull out.
She would pull out.
Wow.
And then this is why, I think we don't need to go into religion, but I respect someone who is religious, but also can then pivot and say, all right, that's kind of absurd. And now she plays on she doesn't play on Sundays anymore because she's not there, but she would play on Sundays. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I played mixed with Callie a ton, and she's also such a supportive partner, especially for me, who was at the time I'm getting to play with Callie Smith. This is super cool. She just made me feel so comfortable, loose, and not nervous at all. And we had great wins because of it.
Do you think you get better partners just because you're likable? Your partner's always way better
clearly
than your ability at pickleball. You're good, but you're not as good as the partners you get.
Of course, he's the most.
Everyone
likable,
notices that, right?
Most likable guy
So
on tour.
I think men's doubles I don't get as so I got to play with Matt Wright this last weekend.
Yeah.
But I wasn't gonna play unless I was in
Case in
was right.
Guess what? I
want to add I was so bad this
Terrible,
week.
God.
Because I had 3
You're
days.
just gonna
We almost quit
he's
the
gonna
podcast.
fail upwards though. He'll play with Colin Johns next week. It'll be Riley Newman.
Well, I'm playing with
Ben.
I'm playing with Ben Johns in MLP.
I want to be respectful of Sam's time. We were late. I want to own that. We were late today. I
you.
don't like being late. Though
I also want to add that
I knew you were gonna be late.
Sam was very difficult.
Oh God, he's such a diva.
I mean, the guy
He's
ever
such a
since this
diva.
Nothing Major podcast
I love
popped
Sam.
off, he's just
I didn't want to drive down.
a diva.
West probably didn't either.
Yeah, Wes would do it.
Wes would do anything
You know what? I
for us.
said to Roscoe, I said, Sam doesn't owe me any favors. I'll take down 50 of his posts because they didn't perform. But Roscoe, you got to drive to LA. But it's okay.
He lives right down the street too.
Sam, you know what? Sam has earned the right to.
But I will say,
just drive down the
without
street. I
that,
respect.
we wouldn't have found this.
But I do have 2 last
podcast
questions
today.
before we sign off. You're taking 3 PPA players to Vegas for a guy's trip.
But you're stealing segments now?
Can't be anyone in this room.
Oh, you
right.
know what?
Who is it?
I think
Did you do this?
Am I married or am I 23 years old?
Oh, you're single.
Abby!
I want both. First one, you're single. First one, you're single.
I just want to add Abby, Sam's wife, is in the room right now.
First one, you're single.
Tyson.
Okay.
Gosh, I don't know the pickleball players well.
Just-
as a
but
tennis
just
guy. I know.
go-
I'm trying.
go-
I need like a list
How's it
in
not
front of
Ryan
me.
Sherry?
Oh, Ryan Sherry.
Okay.
Tyson
The most obvious
McGuffin.
answer.
And there's got to be
Like Rafi
a quiet
Hewitt, maybe?
assassin. No.
The quiet assassin.
Did you say guys only?
CJ
Yeah.
Klinger?
Yeah. No. And
Hayden Patrick.
no. DJ Young.
Ooh.
That's a good call.
He has a baby now. Wes.
But this is-
Oh no,
we're going
that's,
back
That's
to-
pre-marriage, and now who would you
Marriage.
go? Who would you go now?
McGuffin.
McGuffin is he every time he's in Vegas, that guy's
Now just I'd be like Wes.
Yeah, now I
No
want
one in
to
this
no one in
room.
this
No
room.
one
No
in
one on
this
this room. All right.
We would have a great time in Vegas. I don't know if you
We
would
should
say
go
that.
to Vegas. I wasn't invited.
Stefan Alvern.
Super bizarre
Like
answer.
this-
I love Stefan.
I played MLP with him. He was very influential.
What are you gonna do? Like you're going to Cirque du Soleil, like Beatles Love. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crazy magic
I would
shows.
also go with.
I I feel like it's going to be a weird one.
Dude, I'm trying to think of the players.
You think about it.
Next question.
This next question.
Okay.
I gave you my 3.
All right. You have to pick one pickleball player in the top 10. You get $1 million if you beat them. Who is the pickleball player you're most likely to beat to win $1 million in singles? We have one best of 3.
That's
all right. I wish I had the list. I don't know who's top 10. Like
just
this is
like we're talking like Fetty, Ben, Hunter Johnson, Christian Alshon.
You want me to get
Connor Garnett?
No.
I know it. We're talking
Jack Sock,
and then we're talking someone like
it'd be Jack. Just hope you get him on an off day or something like that.
All right.
It'd be Jack.
Wes, I want to get your Vegas take.
My Vegas take?
Yeah.
What do you want to know
3
about my Vegas
guys you
take?
got to take to Vegas for the best weekend of your life.
I think now it's going to be the old guys. It's going to be like Steve Deacon and Travis Rettenmeyer.
Steve freaking Deacon.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I love Steve Deacon.
What Roscoe doesn't understand, it's like I go to these tournaments now and like they're all 25-year-old kids. I have nothing in common with them.
He wants to go eat dinner.
As much as I like them, like I like Dylan.
You just want to snuggle with Craig Johnson
Dylan.
and look into his eyes a little bit.
Actually, it'd be like Craig Johnson, Martin Emmerich, you, Deacon.
Yeah, just a bunch of old guys.
So the dads.
We just have a lot more in common. Like we get each other. We probably like
does this
get there really early.
Does this dad's weekend end like the Hangover, or is it more of like
still party?
simple?
We just start earlier. We day drink.
They're asleep by 11.
We'd be in bed by like 10.
Yeah.
And we'll end the podcast with Sam's episode of Millionaire Matchmaker. We don't have to really...
This is actually requested, so we put out a little thing saying, like, what are some things you want us to talk about on the podcast? And someone said, Sam's episode of Millionaire Matchmaker.
So we'll just roll that into the end of this thing, and those who want to check it out, it's here it is.
42 minutes. If you want to
All these countries, you can't find at least one girl to date that.
Yes, I can.
Then what is the problem?
Part of the problem is if I'm traveling in Europe, I'm not really interested in dating a girl who lives in England.
But you were on Millionaire Matchmaker when you were a top, pro tennis player. They got you like a fake dog, you said?
Yeah, so at the time, I was living with Wes and our buddy Dan in a 3-bedroom apartment in Brentwood. That's not a good look for the show. And so they gave me...
Was it me?
No, just like... The show's called Millionaire Matchmaker.
That's not a good look for the show.
3-bedroom apartment with buddies. Yeah, and so they gave me a fake house. Did you ever come to it and check?
The fake house?
Yeah.
No.
It was in
I thought that was your other house that we didn't know about.
Just the fake house with a tennis court, and we filmed like a lot of it.
You get a fake dog.
And a fake dog.
That you were going to leave out to be eaten by the coyotes.
Yeah, Sam hates
like
dogs. To me,
that's a social. That's it.
Yeah, it's like a psycho.
But we weren't respectful this time on the front end, so let's be respectful on the back end.
Wait, can I ask one more question?
Oh God, this is it.
Carlos Alcaraz starts playing pickleball today. How long before he's a top 5 singles player and or doubles player?
18 months if he's like all in.
Can he get there?
I'm just guessing.
Can he get there?
I'd say less than that.
Can he get
for
there?
singles?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, for singles, he'd be like 6 months.
Yeah, Wes is probably right.
6 months?
6 months?
I mean, you
disagree.
said singles and or doubles, which like doubles is going to take a lot longer.
Doubles is going to take longer.
Singles
maybe
6
just like
months.
that's all he focuses on. Yeah, probably pretty soon.
Is it a 95% chance he gets there?
Into the top 10, yeah.
Top 5.
70% chance.
And this is
it's not to tell. I don't know like what the
10-second answer on this. How good could Ben Johns have been had he focused strictly on tennis? Could he have ever cracked the top 100?
Knowing nothing about his game, I'd say no. He'd probably never been top
100
200.
is so hard.
All right, guys. Thank you. Y'all are awesome, and we really appreciate it. And sorry for being late.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right.
Don't let it happen again.
Thanks.
All right.